down as the Chicago Bears have traded Justin Fields. Back live yet again because we had more Bears coverage, people champing at the bit to get on here. Carmen DeFalco cut the pasta short to join us tonight. What were you eating tonight, Carm? I mean, you made pasta on the show, so I figured.
It wasn't pasta. It was pork chop, actually.
Okay, not bad. How you doing the pork chop? No, we'll worry about that later. That's a whole different conversation.
Bone-in pork chop.
Little bone-in pork chop. Yeah. Can't go wrong there. Listen, Justin Fields traded. The compensation, probably not what most Bears fans thought that it was going to be. And it comes back with a 6th-round pick in 2025 that converts to a 4th if Justin plays 51% of the snaps this season. What are your thoughts on the trade? What were your initial thoughts when you saw it go down?
Well, I think, I don't know. I mean, like when you say it's not what Bears fans probably thought, it's not what I thought, Pat, when the whole offseason started. I mean, and I guess a lot of us maybe just misread it. I kind of figured they'd work off of the Sam Darnold deal from a few years ago when everybody knew the Jets were going to move on and they were going to draft Zach Wilson number 2 overall. And, maybe that's got something specific to do with the crazy situation that is the Carolina Panthers right now and that owner who seems to be, to put it mildly, a bit out of his mind. And like maybe nobody else in the league was going to give that kind of package to the Jets for Sam Darnold. But I guess I kind of misread the whole thing. Like I figured they'd go off that Sam Darnold deal. Justin Fields to me is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I thought they'd kind of go off of that 2nd, 4th, 6th round sort of compensation. Yeah, and it's a little bit of a bummer, I guess, to see that it's nowhere close for the Bears' benefit. I'm glad for Justin. I mean, at least it gets him. I don't know if it's a fresh start. I mean, they just signed Russell Wilson, and I was reading some stuff where it sure seemed like the general consensus coming out of there right now. I don't know if it was Rappaport or Pelissero, someone from NFL Network had tweeted that, their sources are saying Russell Wilson's our starter. So how clean of a start it is for Justin, I'm not sure, but it's better than I think the situation here come 6 weeks, and later this spring and summer. I think it's a little bit better for Justin. Maybe somehow he can go in there and compete and push Russ a little bit. I hope that's the case. I like Justin. I mean, I like few Bear quarterbacks more, and I was hoping for more out of Justin. He's very likable. So I wish him well. It's just, I thought the compensation would be more when this whole endeavor started, but just never materialized over the last couple of weeks. And I don't know if it's like Ryan Poles overplaying his hand. I don't know that had much to do with it.
Yeah.
Maybe just the league doesn't view him as a viable starter right now. And I guess I'm slightly surprised by that. I thought there'd maybe be a situation or two where he could have snuck in and been the starter, but maybe we're learning that the league just doesn't view him as a viable starter right now, and they just sort of view him as a backup quarterback, and such is the compensation for now.
Yeah, we talked about that when we had Cap and Thayer on the first live, and we talked about kind of how it was a little bit of a surprise once you kind of saw, okay, Atlanta's out. Yeah. All right. What are we? All right. Where's he going to go now? Okay, Pittsburgh's got to be the spot. Oh, Pittsburgh's getting Russ. All right. Well, is it Vegas? Could it actually be Vegas here? Like, is he going to pair back up with Luke Getsy? The fact that it does end up being Pittsburgh, they move on from Kenny Pickett, they bring in Justin Fields with the compensation. Like, I think this was the only compensation that made sense if you're going to go out there and take a chance on him. Yeah. And unfortunately, that sucks for the Bears fans and for the Chicago Bears moving forward, because teams kind of just knew, all right, they're going to take Caleb. And because of that, we're not going to give you the world. Plus, we got to pick up this guy's 5th-year option. That I think the Bears were kind of in a rock and a hard place when it came to the quarterbacks that were available as far as veterans. And on top of that, all of the quarterbacks that are coming out in the draft this year for teams that may need a quarterback for the future.
Yeah, like regardless of what Poles said, Pat, at the combine, I think you're right. Like, I mean, people probably read this situation for what it is. I mean, I think people in this league know team to team, organization, kind of, they do have an idea of kind of what's going on. Everybody thinks they're operating at some highly CIA clandestine level, but I think teams kind of get the vibe. Organization. So you're right. They kind of did have him between a rock and a hard place. I mean, I think it was all kind of lining up where the Bears were obviously going to be drafting a quarterback, Caleb or otherwise, with that pick. So all of a sudden that compensation that we once sort of thought, well, you can work off of this deal from a few years ago, that sort of dried up quick. And like you said, as as certain jobs started to get filled around the league, like it became really evident that they were just running out of options. And I think at a certain point, I think you have to do this, take what you can get, do what's best for Justin. Again, it's not a perfect scenario for him, obviously, but it gets him clear here, which probably wasn't going to be a very good situation for him. So you kind of do what's best for all parties involved, and you just take what you can get. And if somehow it works out where, like you said, he plays over that, what was it, 51%? Is that what it is?
Got to play over 51% of the snaps next year. It's going to be interesting to see if he's going to be able to hit that number.
Yeah, and I don't know. And it's hard to foresee. I mean, who knows with injury and everything else and the way Russ has played the last couple years. I don't know. I mean, you're right. I mean, if it works out to the benefit of the Bears where that pick is higher, so be it. If not, it is what it is. But I think it's better for all parties involved at this point, just for the break to happen.
When you look at now Caleb Williams probably being the pick that's coming in. Now, what if he flips it on us? None of us knew what was going on. He's like Jaden Daniels 3, baby. That was the goal the entire time. But now you look at Caleb Williams probably coming in here and being right that next quarterback of the Bears. Is this as good, if not a better situation for a rookie quarterback to be coming into than maybe what Pat Mahomes even stepped into his first year playing? I mean, you've got some real names offensively on this team now. This may be the best group of weaponry a rookie quarterback has stepped into in the last 20 years, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and this is certainly the best case scenario that the Bears have had in terms of what they can present weapons-wise for a long, long time. You know, is it better than what Mahomes stepped into or what Alex Smith had that last year? I don't know. That I'd probably say no, just because I think Andy makes a significant difference in the way he sees offense and the way he can scheme and his experience in this league. So I'd probably say not quite as good, but I like Shane Waldron. I like Shane Waldron when he left the Rams and when he got the job in Seattle. I thought he was an interesting name to follow. I don't like him any less now. I think that offense has been pretty good the last couple of years. I think what they did to revitalize Gino's career has been impressive. So I like Shane Waldron. I think that's a plus. I think, like you said, having the weapons that they have is going to be good. It's going to be a good support system for a young quarterback. Here's what I do think, and I know you're going to agree with me on this, Pat. It is an exponentially better situation for young Caleb Williams than it was for young Justin Fields 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure. I mean, so, you know, is it what the Chiefs could present to Mahomes? No, I don't think it is, but it's exponentially better than the situation that Justin stepped into. And I do think that's important. I think maybe it's why the Bears have failed for so long with so many different quarterbacks. It's just that support system hasn't been good enough. And, you know, like, unless we're totally misreading this, I mean, like on paper and what we see and what we know about these players, like this, I think, is going to be a good situation for a young quarterback.
And that's kind of what I looked at, right? Like when we traded for Keenan Allen the other day, a 4th round pick, I know a lot of people were upset at the draft compensation, but I literally looked at it and I said that there's no way that you can't plug a quarterback into this situation that he's in now, and he's not going to have an easier time developing than what Justin Fields walked into. Justin Fields walked into a situation where Justin Peters, who was 40 years old, was his left tackle going up against Myles Garrett. His best wide receiver was Allen Robinson, who they really weren't using that season because Nagy, they didn't re-sign him. So Nagy was like, we're going to Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, like, it was the Mooney season. Yeah.
So I mean, that was really it. You had David Montgomery, but your center position wasn't set. You had Cody Whitehair in and out of there. You had terrible offensive line play throughout. Tevin Jenkins was hurt. Like, there were so many things that you looked at that season and you were just like, looking at the night and day that the Bears have now, where there's still some holes. I think I don't know if the center position is fixed. I like the way that they've got I like the fact that they signed a veteran center, but I don't know if it's fixed because if he was great, you're probably not letting him not block for Matthew Stafford going into next year. He's not very mobile. Caleb Williams is coming into a year, and even some of the other guys, say you go get Rome Odunze, say you go get JPJ, where they don't have to step onto the field the first day. And it's like, all right, are you the most amazing thing we've ever seen? Because there's room for them to grow with the weaponry they have.
Yeah, it's like, you're not kidding. It is night and day better. I mean, this is a better situation for this young quarterback to come into. And I think the expectation from the Bears, rookie quarterback or not, is going to be banging on the door of the playoffs. Let's face it. I mean, you don't operate the way you've operated this offseason without thinking that. Again, rookie quarterback or otherwise. And sometimes that's a lot to put on a rookie. I get it, but I think that is their full expectation. And this will be a much better situation for a young quarterback to come into and be, sort of like nurtured along. I mean, the thing we always talk about, like, well, where have they failed? Where, okay, you didn't supply X, Y, and Z, and it seems like they've done a better job of that, or like they've set themselves up in a better way for that. And for Caleb or whomever else it's going to be, if there's a curveball coming, so be it. But look, at this point, we know it's going to be a young quarterback, one of those 3 quarterbacks that they're going to draft. And so I do think that this situation is better. There's going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of expectation. Let's face it. I mean, like I said, this is not a team that won 2 or 3 games that is going to be expected to take an incremental step and win 5 or 6. I mean, the expectations are going to be higher after what they did last year and the number of games they won. Bad teams or not that they beat late in the year, I don't care. I mean, it's like, and I think all the moves they've done have shown you that. Like, in their minds, they're going to be knocking on the door for one of those playoff berths in the NFC.
Is this a must-win season, playoff or bust season for Matt Eberflus? You draft the quarterback number 1 overall. Guess what? He's going to be here at least 3 to 4 years, right? We know Caleb Williams is going to be here, but is this if you win 7 games this year, Matt Eberflus is out the door, and you're starting this entire carousel from hell that we've been in for 20 years, 30 years at this point, all over again, because now you're bringing in new systems, new coaches, new DC, new OC, all of that. Is this a must-win year for Flus?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of that in my head. I mean, that's a good question. Part of me wants to say no, Pat, because I feel like if they were going to put him in some sort of must-win situation, like, you had some good candidates on the market this last hiring cycle. Why wouldn't you have changed coaches? I think they believe in him. And I guess to answer your question, I would say no.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you had an opportunity to change if you wanted to with some really good candidates, and you didn't. So I think they believe in him. But boy, man, I'm just rolling around.
That's tough. Like, if you win 7 again, like, you kind of, like, not to say you struggle out the gate, right? Like, that may happen with a rookie QB, but like, if you win 7 games again, and then you're going to sit there and come to the Bears fan base and say, we're all about getting better. This season didn't go how we thought, but we believe in Matt Eberflus. I don't care if he's got the fade and the beard or not. That's a tough sell.
But I think that's what they might end up doing, because I mean, why would you? If you were going to change, this was the time to change. You probably figured you were going to be drafting a quarterback. Why would you change a year from now? It would be, I guess, in a way, it'd be so Bears. Like, we've seen them do silly shit like this before. So, like, part of me feels like, well, we've seen this song and dance before, but I think, I don't know. My guess is they're a little bit more committed to him than that. And even if they do just win 7 or 8 and they come up a little bit short of the playoffs, that he's still going to be here going into 2025. That would be my guess, just reading the way this last cycle and these last few months went, Pat. I think he's probably safe, regardless of some sort of epic disaster in 2024. I think they want him to be the coach. Otherwise, you had an easy break. You had good candidates. You had the fact that you were drafting a rookie quarterback. Like, you had this easy break. Why wouldn't you take it? And why would you change a year from now? They go out and they go 2-15. That might be a different story. I don't think any of us expect that. But if they win 7 or 8 games, and even though they missed the playoffs, I have a feeling he's going to be back.
Oh, that would be tough. We got to get a little eye on the enemy on this one. We got Maggie. Oh God, she's got the Fields jersey on.
Please.
She's waving the towel. By the way, terrible towel. Less compensation than what we got back for Justin Fields. I would have thought we'd have gotten at least a couple of terrible towels in there. Maggie, welcome to the show. Our resident Steelers fan in the office. You've got the Fields jersey on. How do you feel about this trade?
If you would have It's no secret. Everyone that has asked me, do you want Wilson or Fields? My answer was neither. But if you told me that I was going to get both for free, I think I'd have a different story. We're essentially getting, Russell Wilson for $1 million. Fields is going to come in. All we're giving up is a 6 because he's not going to take that many snaps. And yeah, we're going to pay him. Our QB room is $4.5 million right now. We can add a rookie QB and keep it under
wild.
6.
That's wild.
So that is just the Steelers being who the Steelers are. And I'm hoping that we end up seeing that this is the second time that the Steelers have absolutely fleeced the Chicago Bears. That's not true. I cheer for the Bears, but hoping for good news for the Steelers here. I mean, this is great.
Yeah. I'll ask you this, Carm. Does it concern you a little bit that the Steelers were willing to give anything up for Justin Fields? Doesn't that, like, that's an organization where you go, well, if they believe in a guy, you probably should believe in a guy. Or if they don't believe in a guy, you probably shouldn't believe in a guy. They seem to believe something in Justin Fields, and we know Mike Tomlin is reported to have liked him. Does it concern you a little bit that he's probably going to go up there and be able to develop and with a situation that's already preset for him?
Not really, just because I think the Bears were pretty committed to this point to pivoting. So not really. I think the opportunity presented itself here for Pittsburgh in the last 24 hours. And it was, why not fire on this? Why not take a chance for a 6th? And like Meg said, I mean, it's in all intents, for all practical purposes, let's face it, like in their perfect world, it's going to be a 6. He's not going to take 51% of the snaps.
Right.
And it won't be that 4th round pick. That's something that is relatively easy for them to stomach and part with. And Arthur Smith can still get a little clever and creative maybe in some of the things he wants to do offensively with Justin from time to time. I mean, I feel like, when we say gimmicky, it's insulting. And I don't mean it to come off that way. I don't think Justin is a gimmick. I think he's an uber talented athlete. There's some value in kind of the things he can do. So forgive me if I come off harsh when I say gimmicky. I don't really mean it that way, but I think there's some, maybe we'll use a euphemism here. We'll say some, sort of clever, creative ways that Arthur Smith can incorporate Justin into that offense from time to time. It's not the worst thing for Pittsburgh. I mean, like Maggie's right. This is very buy low for them. For a team that is, a perennial playoff team that's got some uncertainty at quarterback. It's not, this is maybe not the ideal scenario, but this is pretty good buy low stuff when you can get Russell Wilson for $1.2 million and you can trade a 6th round pick for Justin Fields. Like, it's not the worst thing for Pittsburgh. Let's face it. I don't think they have their quarterback situation long-term figured out. I don't think Maggie thinks that. But in the short term, this is good buy low stuff for Pittsburgh.
This is hilarious, right? It's like a 1998 NFL quarterback room. It's a quarterback room that's making $4 million in total, and you've got one that's a Super Bowl champion and one that's possibly one of the all-star athletes that, if you can get him to lock in, could absolutely be a dog of a quarterback. Maggie, now what do you do in the draft, though? That's the question that I posed to you. Pittsburgh sitting at 20 was a team that it felt like they may need to move up to go find a long-term answer at quarterback. This is a quarterback-rich draft. Are you standing pat at 20? Are you going and looking maybe to see if some quarterback falls, and if they get there, you move up? What are you doing right now?
I still don't think that they take a quarterback with the first pick that they have. I think they probably go like wide receiver or something like that. They've already done some things to add some key pieces to the defense to help out in places that we've been pretty weak, which is crazy to say. Linebacker position, that the Steelers have been weak at that position for the past couple of years, but they have been. I think that they wait a little longer and they add some, whatever it is, value in a later round QB just to round out the quarterback room. And I would agree with Carm. I mean, I can't remember who said it. We were up at Hallis the other day and somebody said, wow, keep Justin on the roster and have him do some Taysom Hill stuff. I think that, if anything, I think that maybe if Russ stays healthy, do they put him in some gadgety plays here and there? Either way, though, I think with Arthur Smith coming in, he runs an offense that either of these guys are going to be super comfortable in. It's going to be run first. It's going to be a lot of play action. I would agree, though, that, when Carm said what I am worried about is 3-4 years down the road, because every time someone asks me if I wanted Justin, people are going to think it's crazy that I'm wearing a Fields jersey, because my answer has been winners win, and Justin Fields doesn't win. For me, he puts you in a position to win, and then he loses games late. I don't know that he's necessarily a long-term fit at quarterback anywhere in this league, but if it's going to work anywhere, I think that Mike Tomlin can probably make it work.
Yeah, he's got a heck of a coach working with him. You feel like he's in a good situation where if he does step in, gets a year to maybe, I don't know what he's going to learn behind Russell Wilson at this point. Like, we kind of do the learn behind him. Like, what are you going to teach him? Like, to throw to the middle of the field a little bit more. Like, I think the coaches probably are going to handle that. By the way, Russ doesn't throw to the middle of the field a lot either. Shane Waldron, one of the few guys that got him to do that. So I don't know what there's always he's a champion. He can teach him anything. Justin's been a starter in the NFL for 4 years. Yeah, I mean, like, this is not like he's coming in and he has no idea what the NFL is going to be. But maybe there's something he can glean from it. And you see him go out there with a George Pickens, who excellent wide receiver, a run game in place. Maybe address a little bit more on that offensive line, but not a terrible offensive line. He's going to a better situation than what he was in here. That's for sure. And that could lead to him developing more.
I mean, if Kenny Pickett can go 14-11 with this team, I know, there have been some key departures like Deontay, but I don't necessarily think, catching half the balls and running 4 yards backwards after you catch is something that I'm worried about losing. I think that Justin Fields can possibly be in a decent position. I don't know. To me, I have never been a Justin Fields stan. I have never thought that we've seen anything that would lead me to believe that he can win on a consistent basis long term in the league. But if anywhere, then Pittsburgh.
The tough thing for the Steelers is just that division. I mean, in Cleveland at this point seems to do this good year, bad year thing. And I don't know what to make of Deshaun Watson at this point, you guys. I mean, I really don't. He played a little bit better in that last game and a half before he got hurt, I guess. But I don't know what to make of Deshaun Watson. And again, they sort of do a good year, bad year kind of thing. Baltimore's Baltimore. They're going to be good. Burrow stays healthy. We know Cincinnati will be good. Without Burrow most of the year, they were 9-8. That division in general is just brutally tough. So, in terms of what this means for Pittsburgh going forward, I think Pittsburgh's still going to be one of those 9-10 win teams that's just scratching and clawing to get into the playoffs in that division. I don't think Russ or Justin elevates them to the point where they're better than Baltimore or Cincinnati with a healthy Burrow. I mean, do you guys? I don't think so.
Well, let's get some eye on the enemy insight on that. Somebody who's watched it really close. Let's bring in Jeff Jonaik into the panel. Excellent question there from Carm. Jeff, do you feel like sending Justin Fields to the Steelers, having Russell Wilson on the Steelers, elevates the Steelers at all, or do they still have their questions at quarterback as well?
Well, I'm a Bears fan, number one. I'm a Bears fan, so I really don't care about the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, Carm. I could care less. Okay, finally the drama is over, and I've been out tonight in Chicago. I've been stopped by bouncers, bartenders, fans. My Iowa State Cyclones won the Big 12 championship tonight. Outstanding performance. I got Iowa State fans wanting to know what's going to happen with Justin Fields. So, listen, Justin is a big fan of Russell Wilson. Mike Tomlin is an outstanding head coach. I think he's one of the premier coaches in football. He's going to get the most out of everybody. He's a no-nonsense guy. Arthur Bryant is the head coach or the offensive coordinator there. Arthur Smith, excuse me. And he's a running.
You're thinking of the barbecue place in Kansas City.
Exactly. Yeah, because of you and Yurko talking about it so much, I got Arthur Bryant on the mind. I don't think I've ever even been to Arthur Bryant's. But anyway, Arthur Smith, who I saw at the Combine, and a very serious guy, play action pass guy, which Justin can do very well in. But let's just talk about the Chicago Bears. So now there's a clear runway to the number one pick, the likelihood that it's going to be Caleb Williams. And this town Still divided. You know, I've been out and about all day. I've been downtown celebrating, and people miss Justin. They will miss him. They love the guy. I think the Bears love the guy, but they're also intrigued by what's coming up down the pike. So saw DJ Moore today, had a conversation with him, interviewed Keenan Allen this morning up at Hallis Hall. A lot of love for both quarterbacks, to be quite honest. Everybody has opinion on it, and that includes all of us. And let's see where it goes. All I want to know is, can we win? I want to win. Yeah. It's time to win.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 100%. I think that I'll ask you this, Jeff. When you look at the team that they've put together now, do you feel like this team is in the best situation to develop a quarterback that, I mean, maybe we've ever seen in Bears history since, I guess, Sid Luckman?
Well, no, you're being crazy. Like, I respect your thought there, but you know, there was a time we had Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Matt Forte, some really good offensive linemen, and you know, made it to the NFC Championship game, losing in 2010. So there have been moments, but right. You know, that's yet to be determined. Like, every draft choice is a prospect. It's not a guarantee. It's a prospect. So Caleb Williams, Drake May, Daniels, whoever the case may be at quarterback, they are a prospect until further notice. Now, you've surrounded them with tremendous talent, obviously, in DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's a Hall of Famer. DJ Moore is on his way. Lot better situation, but there's still a team with needs on both sides of the ball that have to be addressed. And we don't know much yet about how this coaching staff is going to blend together. Every year is a chemistry project. And so we've got a lot of great coaches from different parts unknown that are coming together here with a familiar system. Thomas Brown, I love. Shane Waldron's getting high marks from everybody I talk to. Chris Morgan back as offensive line coach. That's significant. But, you know, there's a lot of things that have to fall in place here.
Yeah, the voice of the Chicago Bears, Jeff Jonaik, here with us, breaking down this Justin Fields trade. As Maggie's still with a smirk on the face a little bit there. A $4 million quarterback room's insane. When she said that one threw me off there. Jeff, when you now look at what Caleb Williams is kind of walking into here, when you look at the situation, if the Bears do take Caleb, there's still other quarterbacks, but I believe we all think he's going to take Caleb now. When you look at the situation that the Bears are walking into now, we had asked this question at the leadership panel, and I'll ask it to you here. How many wins do you need to see from the Chicago Bears next season to feel like this is going to be a stable situation moving forward? Because in my opinion, if you have a 6-7 win season, can we say that Matt Eberflus's seat might be a little bit warmer than we thought it was?
You're mixing all kind of stuff there. First you start with talking about the quarterback. Now you're talking about the head coach. Let's talk about the quarterback, because right now what's most important is the development of that quarterback. No matter who it is, we got to figure out, what's this guy going to bring to the table? Does he have the championship chops? And that's really what we're talking about here. It's hard to win a Super Bowl. It's hard to repeat a Super Bowl. It's hard to just get there. So Let's just get there. I don't care about numbers right now, wins. Does this guy show you, whoever it may be, that he can lead a team when they're down in the fourth quarter, in crunch time, on that final drive of the final 4 minutes of a game, the final 2 minutes of a game? Does he have the ability to finish? And it's because of him, not because of what's around him. Does he elevate everybody else on the team, like Patrick Mahomes did with a bunch of 3 receivers in Kansas City? You know, can they get the most out of their quarterback? And can they use every aspect of his strength, his traits, to have him become, you know, a Super Bowl champion? So that's what we're talking about here. So wins and losses next season and who's going to be in charge is irrelevant to me. It's, if you're making this decision right now and you're going to bring in this quarterback, assuming it's Caleb Williams, you got to develop him and get him into a championship mindset and have everybody believe that this is the guy, and everybody in that locker room, not us, in the locker room.
Jeff,
yes, sir.
I hear what you're saying, and it's sometimes a tough ask when when you're talking about rookie quarter, like not everybody's going to come in and do what CJ Stroud did. Let's face it, you know, and teams can talk about, well, our expectations to make the playoffs. That stuff sometimes they say what they believe internally can be different. And there's no way I'll believe that anybody in Houston figured they would do what they did this last year. The Bears are in such a different situation, though, even with a young quarterback. Does it feel like off of a 7-win team, a 7-win season, with all the things they've done, even with a rookie, doesn't it feel like internally they're going to believe, hey, we should be knocking on the door of the playoffs. We should be a playoff team in the NFC next year.
Yeah. Of course. You have to believe that. I mean, we're a much better football team today. I mean, this was a good week in the aspects. And we'll see what's else coming down the pike in the draft, et cetera. But listen, man, this is 68 quarterbacks last year. There have been 20. There have been now 20 quarterback moves this week.
I know. It's crazy.
And everybody falls over themselves trying to get it right. Spending money upon money upon money, making deals that we all scratch our head about. So, listen, I want somebody to stay in the same system for several years. I don't want to see, like, to me, this is the big problem in the NFL right now. Nobody gets a chance. Yeah. Like, you guys are already talking about, well, if he doesn't win, more than 6 or 7 games, is Matt Eberflus. Stop the change. You got to live with some things and work through it. Yeah. And I know that's not popular. And believe me, Bears fans have been waiting too damn long for wins and too damn long for a championship and even just a knock on the door. So, and I'm included in that bunch. So I get it. I get it. Believe me. But there is a way. There's got to be a way to do it. And, the one thing about bringing in offensive coordinators, hey, if it's Caleb Williams, and if Caleb Williams has a big year, and that offensive coordinator is one of the reasons why he's gone. He's a head coach somewhere, and we're starting over again. This is the NFL. This is what we're living in right now. But it's got to stop at some point. It just has to. I need consistent growth. And when Ryan Poles, I'm going to keep going to this, and I love this guy. This guy, the quiet storm, man. He is soft-spoken, but inside he is on fire, 24/7. This guy is all about fixing this and getting it right. But as he said long ago, the right way is the hard way. And the hard way means you're going to take some lumps along the way. So let's get it right. We're setting the table for something significant here. Yes, you got 2 big-name receivers. You got 2 really impressive tight ends. You got a backfield that's pretty much stacked. Is the offensive line ready to roll? Do we have another edge rusher to go opposite Montez Sweat? Is Dexter R3 technique? We're setting the secondary. I'm satisfied. There's a lot to discuss here, and I'm losing my voice because I've been out all day. So, forgive me. Go back. I didn't think I'd have the stones to do this tonight, but I'm doing it.
I'm impressed. All right, it's been a long day for Jonaik. I know. I've seen the texts. I've seen them.
Exactly. Am I okay? That's what I want to know.
Jeff, you're amazing. You're amazing, Jeff.
Am I making sense?
You're making so much sense. I tend to fall on the same side that Jeff's on because you look at organizations that have more stability over time, like the Steelers, like the Packers, well, not the Patriots
Ravens.
anymore, but they don't make these, hey, win this year or else. And for me, if there's only one thing that we've seen that we've seen over time is the magic sauce for making a rookie quarterback successful, it's that he can sit and learn. That's not something we have here, but I would say that to add in, you get 10 wins or it's a failure is the worst thing that you can do to a rookie quarterback because you are bringing him into a good, situation, but it's just a matter of figure out if he's the guy that can calm things down, run the offense, and learn and pick up the speed of the game. Otherwise, you're going to stay in the revolving door that you've stayed in for decades here in Chicago. So I just think slowing down and even asking those questions is the antithesis of what you want to do right now.
I mean,
I don't go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's always the ones, take 2 steps forward, 4 steps back. I mean, I know that's not the actual cliche that's used, but, I'm a big proponent of letting things ride. I mean, these, when coaches come in, they're usually first-time coaches. Ryan Poles, a first-time general manager. Mistakes are going to be made. You got to give them some rope. And I get it, man. Believe me, I get it. That the patience in this town has been exemplary. Like the fans in this town tonight, I've been to several places tonight. They just love the Bears. Like they support the Bears in a way that is, to me, unique. I know all the other 31 play-by-play guys in the NFL, and I'm sure we have samples of a similar experience, but this town's different, man. I'm just telling you, man. It's just this love affair, and they just want to win, and they will take the patience to do it, and I hope they have it.
Like Sylvia says, we just want to hump. As like Chicago sports fans, as Bears fans, we just want to hump.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. Jeff's right. We just want to hump. Like, give us a good fucking team.
But don't you love the passion though? Like,
yes.
That's why I love what I do. You gotta have the passion. You gotta match and surpass the passion of the fan base. Like
I'm not gonna lie. I've said this multiple times. The Caleb Williams, Justin Fields debate, it definitely got toxic. Like we can all agree that it got to a bad place. But there are teams where like you can't get fans to debate what's going on with their team because they're not that invested. It doesn't ruin their week when their team loses football games. It doesn't mess right.
Big Pat.
Chicago,
Big
it
Pat.
is a listen. The Bears
ruins
lost
the week,
this week.
Pat.
I'm not good until Thursday because I know the game's coming up.
It ruins the week, buddy. Listen, let me tell you this. So you guys, you're just getting to know Tom and I a little bit in a different way than we've ever been understood before, right? Carm's laughing. I know this. Carm's seen, like,
I've seen it.
It hurts, man. We lose. Like, there was an unnamed writer, I'll say, in this town years ago, asked me a question at a Super Bowl. We were all out to dinner. He goes, "Why do you care so much?" I go, "What?" He goes, "Why do you care so much? It's sport. It's the games people play. No, not here. Not here. Not what we do. We've invested ourselves as fans, as journalists, as talk show hosts. Pat, amazing what you're doing right now. And as announcers, like, we see things you guys don't see. We're in the building in every department. Like, every department feels the pain. When we lose on a Monday, it's awful. It's awful up there. The bus ride's awful. The plane ride's awful. The angst that you have of what's coming around the corner if things aren't looking real good. And you get a really good feel when you're on the inside of where things are headed. There's not many surprises. Like, you get a real good feel if this is going to be a downturn or if the arrow's up. And we live and breathe every second of this stuff, man. It's just serious stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's
like I said, it makes or breaks your week. Maggie, we appreciate you bringing your time here. I know that you got to roll. Not the terrible towel. Get the towel out of here, Maggie.
Sorry, fellas.
See you on the other side. I think. Do we play y'all this year? Do we play them?
I think it's next year.
Pittsburgh
Next year.
No disrespect, Maggie. I didn't know. So you're a Steeler.
I am indeed.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
Yeah,
I have great
Here we go.
Go
Steelers, go Bears.
Maggie's got Steelers stuff and like red stuff in her office. Don't you have red stuff in your office, Maggie?
I do. I am from Cincinnati. Listen, I've picked lanes and I've stayed in them. I just picked odd lanes to drive in. That's all. All right, my fellas.
She's got Marquette. You go into Maggie's office, she's got like a Marquette flag, a Steelers flag, and a Reds flag. You're like, what the hell's going on in here? I don't understand this.
A little bit of a confusion.
Yeah, that's true.
Identity confusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
I keep everybody on their toes.
See you later, Maggie. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hit the like button, subscribe to the page if you haven't done so as of yet. Jeff, I'll ask you this. How excited are you to talk about this team this year? Does there a little bit more juice seeing all of the moves that Ryan Poles has made that you're chomping at the bit to get back into that booth now?
Of course. I mean, listen, everybody asks me, oh my God, when things aren't set up real well and you think, you're going to have a down season. Oh God, are you dreading that? No, please. Every NFL game's a gift. I take nothing for granted. I treat preseason games like regular season games. So I look forward to every single game. There's always something of significance that's going to happen. We're charting the history of the National Football League. So at any moment, there's going to be a big play by a Bear or the opposition that's going to live forever on NFL film. So you attach yourself to that. You respect that fact. And it's the Vince Scully way of like, you're also painting a picture and you're creating the history for that individual that's making those plays. That's the way it is. So I look forward to it. But that being said, I'm sitting across a Hall of Fame wide receiver today, one-on-one in the Bears TV studio at Alice Hall. And yeah, am I jacked up about seeing that guy in a Bears uniform? Absolutely. Absolutely. Keenan Allen? Are you kidding me? This is fantastic. I listen, he had maybe his best year of his career last year, and he only played 13 games. Played 13. Yeah. So listen, the targets that DJ Moore I saw DJ today, first thing out of his mouth, man, get ready for a lot of man-to-man coverage. And that's good. That's music to their ears. Okay. Yeah. And even if they don't, there's going to be more added here too, because, Tyler Scott, I'm not going to give up on that young man. That guy's going to learn a lot from Keenan Allen. He's going to learn a lot from DJ Moore. He's going to learn a lot from his missed opportunities last season on some really good passes. And they're going to add more. And man, if they keep that 9th pick, I'd love Rome Odunze here.
I would love him.
That guy, there's been a lot of top 10 busts in wide receivers in the NFL in the draft. Rome Odunze, there's just something different about this guy. And I've talked to people who know him. The guy works like nobody as a college kid. He has refined his game every single year of his college career. And I fell in love with him in the first 5 weeks of the season. I watched every Washington game. Love that guy. That's the guy to keep an eye on.
Do you feel like I guess we lost Carm there for a second? Let's see. There he is.
I'm back.
There we go.
Okay.
I only have a couple minutes, guys.
You're all good, Jeff. Do you feel like the Bears have done enough to go wide receiver? Was going to be my follow-up question to you there.
That's why I'm not a GM, man. It's a $1 billion decision.
I hear that.
Can handle it, but
amen.
We need another edge rusher.
I was the person right before Ryan Poles did it. I was like, you got to go save Chase Claypool, get him out of Pittsburgh, get him to Chicago. Yeah, I don't GM. I don't GM. I didn't say send a second, but
what's more readily available, receiver or an edge rusher?
Yeah.
What's more valuable? When there's so many receivers. But there's so many elite edge rushers or 3 technique. I don't know what their plan is, but when you get in this situation, you respect the fact that they made these moves, but you only have 4 draft picks, and now I want more. I'm greedy, and so there's just some things I really think I need on this football team, and I do need another receiver, and I do need an edge rusher, and as Dexter the 3 technique or. Do you need somebody else? I mean, the line of scrimmage is where we live. And see, I'm forgetting one thing here. The tackles in this draft are insane. These guys are legit. And I'm feeling a little funny about not taking a tackle.
Yeah.
Right?
Who gets to you? That's the tough part at 9. Does Fasciano fall that far? Alt's definitely not going to be there.
John Alt won't be there. Joe. I call him by his pappy every time. I call him by his dad's name. Joe won't be there. There's no way. Fasciano probably will be. He probably will.
Really
I wouldn't be mad at that either.
Right. Hey, listen, drafting an offensive lineman is never sexy, right? So, but the last, cornerstone left tackle we've had in this franchise is Jimbo Cover.
Yes.
The guy that you're going to play him for 8 to 10 years and you're not going to blink. I'm not disparaging, my guy, Braxton Jones. Terrific kid. Love him. He's really improved. I can't wait to see what he comes to work with in training camp in terms of what he's added strength-wise, because that's a big part of it for him. But when you have special talent out there, man, that's intriguing. That's intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff, we appreciate you
All right,
jumping
guys.
on with us here.
All right, Jeff. See you,
Go
buddy.
have fun. Go party some more, Jeff. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Good night, guys.
Happy St. Patrick's
Later.
Day.
Appreciate it.
Carm, it's been an interesting night.
It's been fun, buddy.
It's been a night of trade and just finally everything comes to an end. What are your final thoughts on all of this? What are your how do you head into the tomorrow looking forward?
You know, I'm kind of with you, Pat. Like, I'm glad it's sort of over. I don't think any of this has been necessarily fair to Justin. And, you know, maybe you say fair. Listen, these are big, like, Justin's a grown-ass man. He's a professional. Like, he gets it. Like, Justin's not going to lose an ounce of sleep, I'm sure. You know, this is part of the business that these guys deal with. But with that said, I have felt like this week specifically has been a little tough. Like, Justin's not even in the country. He's doing some NFL stuff with the league over in Europe right now. So maybe that's good for him. But Justin's a big boy, like, and he gets it. And I'm sure he's fine. I can't help but think, like, it's probably good that this is over though. Like, let him move on. Just the rhetoric around all of it. You know, like, what was spread through the national media. Well, nobody wants Justin. I don't think that was really ever the case.
It's the 25 mil. I gotta trade for you and give you 25 mil.
Right. I mean, and that's it, Pat. Like, you know, you're talking about draft compensation. You're talking about a 5th-year option potentially. Like, I think there are teams that wanted Justin. I think teams have to be calculated in how they acquire guys. And so to say, well, nobody wants Justin, I think that's a little unfair. Again, does it matter at the end of the day? It's just rhetoric, and he probably knows that. But I know. I think I'm just sort of glad it's over.
Yeah.
For the sake of all of us, for the sake of Bears fans, like, we were taking calls as recently as yesterday. You guys are misreading it. They're keeping Justin. We never really believed that. They were never going to keep Justin. Like, at least it's over now. Like, Bears fans can, whether you're angry or you're excited, like, at least you know the outcome. And so I would just say, like, I kind of agree with you. I'm glad it's come to an end. We know the path here for them. I hope it's the right one. I hope they get it right. I hope Caleb Williams is a stud. I mean, I think we all hope that. We're all Bears fans. I was hopeful 3 years ago that Justin was going to be a stud. Unfortunately, it just didn't really work out that way, you know, and hopefully this time they get it right. That's all we really care about. That's, you know, like, so I'm glad that at least we have some clarity on the path forward. And, you know, it was a weird week, to say the least. I'm kind of, you know, in a sense, I'm kind of glad it's over.
Does the Hall Bell survive? Because now, I mean, listen, you're going to get Jaden Daniels calls. You're going to get trade back and take Jaden Daniels calls.
Until the draft, and we're going to get calls like that, Pat, the Hall Bell will live.
The Hall Bell lives on. I'm not gonna lie. I was a take the Hall guy. When I heard that, I was like, that's amazing. Appreciate you jumping on, Carm. Appreciate you spending your time. Have a great day. And
see you next week.
Tell the kids I said good night.
All right, buddy. See you.
All right, man. Listen. That's how it all unfolds. Chicago Bears end up moving on from Justin Fields. Don't know just yet what kind of capital the Bears will get, because it may be a 6, but if Justin plays more, could be a 4th. Got to play 51% of the snaps in Pittsburgh. I'm almost guaranteeing that the Steelers will somehow make sure that he plays 50% just at the line. But appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us on our second live of the night. If any more news breaks, you know, you can come right here to ESPN Chicago, ESPN 1000's YouTube channel, and we'll be here to react to all of it. For all the great guests that we had on tonight's show, I am Pat the Designer. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear done. Let's go get this one right.